My father and I have not been in touch for the past 10 years. He left, no explanation or anything. One day he just had a fight with my mom and he left. I think it was when I was around 12 years old and my mom thought that I was too young to know the truth. So for 4 years, she let me believe that my father had left us because he was going through some sort of mental breakdown. And I had a lot of sympathy for him back then. But when I was 16, she finally told me the truth, and I learned that he hadn't left because of some mental issues. He had left because he had been cheating on my mom for 3 months by then. And the worst part was that he had been pretending that everything was fine with my mother. They were not fighting or anything. She didn't even have a clue of it. She found out totally randomly while emptying his bag after he had returned from a trip, only to find some other woman's lingerie in it. She confronted him about it. He did not deny anything. And that was the last time that they ever had a fight. He told her that he was sick of her. He told her that he was bored of their life, and that's why he had started this affair with one of his co-workers. He did not seem to have any regrets or anything, and when she told him to leave, that's exactly what he did. Later on, she tried to tell him that they could work on their issues, solve whatever was going wrong for him, and try to stay together, if not for love, then only for my sake. But that's not what he wanted. He wanted to get a divorce, and the most that he was willing to do was write a child support check. But he was not interested in being a husband or father anymore. Basically, he didn't want a family anymore. He was done and dusted. At that point in time, my parents had been together for 14 years, so naturally, it was quite hard for my mother to come to terms with it, but she did. She stayed strong. She didn't even let me find out about the truth, because she still wanted me to have a chance with my dad, and she didn't want me to hate him because she believed he would come back eventually. That never ended up happening, and after 4 years of hiding the truth, she told me everything. And I know a lot of people would expect me to be mad at my mother for never telling me the reality, but instead, I respected her more than ever. And I loved her even more than what I thought was possible. That changed everything for me. And I started to pretend that my dad had never even existed in my life because that made the pain less difficult to deal with. In the past 10 years, I think I've become a master at pretending that my dad had never been part of my life at all. And his prolonged absence has just made it easier. But then, out of the blue, he reached out to me a couple of days back. It was totally unexpected. I didn't even think that he would know how to find me, but thanks to the internet, he was able to find my LinkedIn account, and that's how he ended up sending me an email on my work address. He told me that he really wanted to meet me, and if I didn't want to see him in person, the least I could do was at least leave him a text or a phone call, because he had something very urgent to share. For a few days, I held out on what I wanted to do and didn't tell my mom about it because I figured that if she's doing fine right now, I don't want to bring it all up and make her miserable again. She's been seeing somebody for the past couple of months, and I don't want her getting worked up about any of this, so she's still in the talk about everything. But anyway, a couple of days after that email, he reached out to me once again and said that he was really in an emergency and he needed me to talk to him. I guess curiosity got the better of me and I ended up responding to him. I called him on the phone number he had left, but I was very careful on the phone not to make it seem like I was enthusiastic about seeing him again or anything. That evening, I met him at a restaurant, and in the beginning, he seemed very happy to see me. He teared up and everything, but even then, I could feel that something was coming. And this was all an act building up to it. Because you don't just meet your daughter after 10 years saying that you need to share something urgent, and then it turns out that it's just so that you could see her. I'm sure his paternal instincts had not kicked in after 10 years, so while he was trying to make small talk with me, I was just waiting for him to get to the point, and eventually he did. He told me that he had been thinking about reaching out to me for a long time because he was finally married again, and he wanted to introduce me to his new family now because they knew about me and they were very eager to see me. He was trying to be very nice about it. He was trying to act as if everything was fine, but I could tell that there was something that he was not telling me, and I wasn't buying it at all. So even though until then I had been sitting quietly, I told him at that point in time that I was not going to do anything that he asked me to, unless he told me the full truth, because I could tell that he was hiding something, and he was not that good of an actor anymore. He might have been able to fool my mom for 3 months and make sure that she didn't suspect anything while he cheated on her. But I know how he is as a person. And I know for a fact that he was only reaching out to me because he needed something. For a couple of minutes he went back and forth on this. He seemed offended that I was implying that he might have had ulterior motives, but eventually he snapped and told me that the only reason he was reaching out to me was because his wife's crazy traditional family was finally coming around to accepting him, and he wasn't about to let them know that he hadn't been in touch with me, his only daughter, for almost 10 years now. Slowly I managed to get it all out of him, and he was really trying to put a spin on the story to make himself look like the victim. Basically, in the past 10 years, he and that co-worker that he had cheated on my mother with had had an on and off relationship. But for the past 2 years, they had been going strong, and so they decided to get married earlier this year, and this time he was finally ready to commit because he was much older now, and he was ready to settle down. He claimed that the only reason he had not married this woman until recently was because he wanted to take his time, and he was not sure if she was really the one. But in reality, I knew that the only reason they hadn't married yet was because he was not ready to commit and give up the freedom of messing around with other women. My mom had already told me in the past couple of years that on several occasions her single friend had come to her to tell her that they had found her ex-husband, my dad, on dating apps. And interestingly enough, his age on these apps did not match how old he was in real life. So clearly, I think everyone knows what kind of a person he is. Anyway, all that aside, in the past 2 years, the biggest problem that he and his wife had to deal with was her family, because they were crazy traditional and they did not like the fact that he was a divorced man. On top of that, my dad is almost a decade older than this woman, and she was literally just 21 back when they had started this affair. In the past 10 years, she had come close to getting married several times, but it had never really come through. So I guess eventually her parents decided to give in and let her marry whoever she wanted to be with. Because at 31, they believed that she was running out of time. They were finally able to wear her parents down, and a couple of weeks ago, they had gotten married in a private ceremony after being engaged for a month. But now they had new problems to deal with because for so long, his in-laws had believed that he had been an active part of my life, and he had let them believe that because he thought it made a good impression. Now it was beginning to backfire because they wanted to see me, and they had even wanted to invite me to the wedding, but my dad had somehow brought that under control and told them that I had still not come around to the idea of my dad remarrying, and I was too loyal to my mother to attend a ceremony like this, so he had worked around it. But now that they were married, his in-laws were adamant on seeing me because they believed that it was important for them to know who their future grandchildren will be growing up with, since I would be their half-sibling. And even though my dad and his wife had no intention of having kids anytime soon, they couldn't put this off anymore, and they absolutely had to get me to agree to meeting my dad's in-laws and helping him out somehow. Because if they found out the truth about the situation with me and my dad, they would be very upset with him because he had led them to believe that I was still a part of his life. And my dad's wife did not want any drama with her parents and her husband. So he had to come to me and ask me to help them out. That basically was the long and short of it. And after hearing him out, I already knew what I was going to do, but I did not let him in on it. He wanted me to think that he was the victim here, and he was acting as if he was very sorry to have dragged me into this mess. And he was even apologizing for abandoning me for all these years and leaving me to grow up on my own with just my mother. It was clear he was trying to gain my sympathy, since he was trying to explain why he was absent for so long, saying things like he knew that he was not good enough to be a father, so he wanted to stay away from me so I would have a good life and he wouldn't end up being a bad influence on me. He was self-deprecating, trying to make it seem like he really regretted whatever had happened, trying to apologize and make it all seem real, and basically playing the victim here. And eventually I gave in and told him that I would help him. He was very happy about it. He told me that he was glad that I had chosen to help him out, even after everything that had happened, and he even managed to bring out a few tears and said that he was always going to be grateful to me and he hoped that we could build a real relationship now. He really looked forward to it and all that. But he didn't know that I had very different intentions compared to what he was expecting from me. And I'll get to that now. From whatever he had said, it was pretty clear he wanted me to pretend that I had a very good relationship with him and everything, that we had an ideal father-daughter bond, in spite of the fact that he and my mom were divorced. 2 days after we met, him and his wife literally started talking me through how I was supposed to act in front of his in-laws, trying to train me in everything, acting as if all of this was very normal. I just nodded and kept my mouth shut, and then when it was time, I let loose. In the beginning, I was quite sweet and nice and very civil with my dad's in-laws. And from the vibe of the house and everything, and even their behavior, I could tell they were a bit traditional, formal. So I knew that whatever I was about to say, it was seriously going to impact their relationship with my father and his wife. Which is why, after being nice for a while, when they asked me about how it was growing up with my dad, I told them the truth. I told them that I didn't know because I hadn't exactly grown up with him, since he hadn't been in touch with me for the past 10 years. And while they looked shocked, I told them the whole story. And when I tell you that everybody was shocked to their very core, I'm not even kidding about it. The reaction of my dad's in-laws was nothing compared to the reaction that my dad and his wife had, because they were literally frozen in place while I spoke about how they had been training me to lie about everything in the car. And then after I was done speaking and exposing my father, I said goodbye and I walked out. I don't know what happened afterwards. I'm assuming that there must have been some huge fight or something, but I don't know because I just called a cab and went home. This was a few days back, and since then I have received countless emails, missed calls, texts from my father telling me that I've made a huge mistake and I'm going to regret this because he really meant whatever he had said about wanting to build a relationship with me. But now I had ruined everything, not just for myself, but also for him. But he didn't elaborate on that. So I'm assuming that there must have been some trouble after I said everything, but I don't really care about that. The thing that has actually been bothering me a little is, what if he was genuinely interested in making things right with me? I know it's a bit stupid of me to think that way, but I honestly can't help it. I know for a fact that he had only reached out to me for his own selfish reasons and because he wanted me to help him lie and cover up in front of his in-laws. That is something I don't have a doubt about. But then after I agreed to help him, it felt like he was really willing to build a relationship with me, and now I'm just wondering, did I lose the chance of a lifetime? Because let's face it, we only get one set of parents, that's it. And regardless of everything that he has done, regardless of how awful he has been to both me and my mom, I can't help but think that maybe I screwed up. I just don't know how to stop feeling guilty and stop feeling like I did something wrong, so I really need to know. Did I mess up? AITA for pretending to help my deadbeat father and then messing everything up for him on purpose? Edit. Hi, so because a lot of people needed some clarity on exactly how old my dad is, he's 47 now. Him and my mom started dating when they were 23 since they had a lot of common friends who set them up. They got married at 25 and coincidentally they conceived me while they were engaged. So they had to get married faster than planned. And then, as we all know, obviously years later, he left my mom at 37 because he was having an affair with a 21-year-old newbie at his company. And then for 10 years, he didn't marry that woman, even though she seems to be quite crazy about him, because otherwise I can't imagine why she never got married to anybody else either. From the looks of it, she could have. And her parents definitely wanted her to, at least that's what I've been told. Even until recently, my dad had been pretending to be in his late 30s on dating apps and everything. And unfortunately, because of his appearance, he could pass off as somebody that age too, so nobody questions it. So anyway, my point is, since a lot of people wanted to know what exactly was going on here, this is what it is. It's gross, and I know that you guys wanted some more details, just to figure out exactly how wrong all of this is, and here it all is. Honestly, I don't think even if I'm able to put everything out of my head for just 1 second, I still won't be able to wrap my brain around the fact that he decided to have an affair with a 21-year-old woman at the age of 37 while having a wife and daughter to take care of. In fact, I'm pretty sure that that was not even his first affair, now that I think about it. He must have had other affairs, but he just hid them better, I guess. I'm assuming his wife was the one he had the longest affair with, which is why he probably got sloppy and got caught. Anyway, the bottom line is it's disgusting, and you guys are right. I shouldn't forget about that at any cost. Update 1. Hey, thank you to everybody who commented on my post because it was all very eye-opening. I just realized I was about to make a huge mistake by even allowing myself to feel guilty. And the fact that I had even met him, spoken to him and done all of this, that was a mistake too. Now that I think about it, I never should have agreed to any of this. That would have been the best way to go about it. That way, he would have had to come clean to his in-laws on his own at some point. And I would have been spared all the drama. But then again, by getting me involved, I got him into even bigger trouble because it shows he was actually willing to be more dishonest than ever, just to deceive his in-laws and not just him, even their daughter. Anyway, that's really not worth it. Though, now that I think about my mom's reaction to all this, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have wanted me involved in any of this at all. And her only advice to me would have been to avoid my father at all costs. And I should have thought about that before I got into any of this. The more I think about it, the less clever I feel about my plan. And honestly, it's pretty late at night right now, and that's the only reason I haven't immediately told my mother about everything. But the next morning, as soon as I have an opportunity to talk to her at length, I'm going to come clean to her about everything and apologize for disappointing her, while trying to get back at my dad for everything that he has put me through emotionally. I forgot that this was not just about me. And my mom is an equal part of this. If anything, he had done worse to her than what he had done to me. And I'm my mother's daughter, so I should have thought about what she would have wanted me to do before going ahead and pulling off a stupid stunt like this. But anyway, I regret it, and I'm going to talk to her about it, and I'll make it right. Update 2. Hey, so it's done. I spoke to my mother about everything that had happened. I told her every little thing. I even showed her all the screenshots and whatever. I spoke to her about my dad's reaction as well, and she listened to me calmly. And at the end of it, she asked me how I felt about it. She didn't scold me. She didn't tell me that I had been reckless and thoughtless or anything like that. Actually, she simply asked me how I felt about what I had done. And I told her that I didn't like it. I felt like I should have just let it go instead of getting involved in for no reason, because at the end of the day, it just ended up being a colossal waste of time and energy. And it's not like I can actually get back at my dad, because what he did to me was way worse than anything I can even imagine doing to him. Truth is, I'll never be able to hurt him the way he hurt me. I'll never be able to hurt him the same way that he hurt my mom, and neither will she, because even if we find a way to do it somehow, I don't think that we have those kind of morals where we can do crap like this and get away with it without feeling bad. That's exactly what I told my mom, and she told me that that's exactly true. And that's why she had never bothered to try and get revenge on my dad, because she knew that she was not a person like that, and karma would get him eventually. She doesn't know how, she doesn't know when, but she trusts that eventually he will get what he deserves without her involvement. She also told me that she was proud of the fact I had at least realized that I would have been better off not getting involved at all. But she also told me I don't need to beat myself up about whatever has already happened, because it's really not my problem. Whatever is happening, it's my dad's problem. It's his job to clean up the mess that he's gotten himself into. So I don't need to worry about it. Basically, she was very calm about the whole thing, and talking to her was quite a relief, because I usually share everything with her. And it had honestly been really draining for me not to tell her everything. Now that I have gotten everything off my chest and she has given me some sound advice, I don't feel that bad about anything anymore. And on top of that, my dad has also chosen to leave me alone, and he's not been texting me and trying to guilt trip me anymore. So that's certainly an improvement. I've learned my lesson. I'm just gonna stay away now. Update 3. Hey, I guess I spoke too soon about my dad leaving me alone. It's been 3 days since my last update, and today I received a really manipulative email from him, and I'll just paste it here. I had been thinking for weeks about how to reach out to you again, and about how I might have handled things wrong in the past, and that it was time we tried to fix it. I had even spoken to my wife about trying to meet you and build a relationship with you and having a regular contact with you, especially now that things were finally starting to settle down for us. But you have made sure that that door is forever shut after this stunt that you pulled. Your little revenge act didn't just hurt me, you know. It humiliated my wife, and it has made both of us into liars, even though we were just trying to make everything work for everyone else around us. Her parents are furious, and they've cut contact with us, pulled out of her business entirely. The only reason that we had been trying so hard to stay on good terms with them was because of the business, because they are her primary investors, and you already knew that. You knew how hard she had worked to get to where she is. You knew what it meant to her, and you know what she means to me, and yet you did this. Because of you and your stunt, her parents are not ready to stay on board anymore. That's hundreds of thousands gone overnight. Her entire career is hanging by a thread now, and it's all because of you. Actions have consequences, and what you did was selfish, cruel, and short-sighted. You don't just burn a bridge, you ruined our lives. I'm ashamed of you, honestly. I don't say that lightly. I had genuinely wanted you back into my life so that my daughter and I would have a bond to talk about. And we wouldn't have to pretend like the other didn't exist anymore, because it was getting exhausting and I didn't want to live like this anymore. I wanted to make it right, and I honestly don't know what I did to deserve something like this. If you didn't want to help me, if you didn't want to see me, then you should have just said no, and that would have been the end of it. I wouldn't have pushed you because I know what I have done in the past. And I know that I didn't deserve your forgiveness, but what you did was even lower than what I had expected. I thought you would understand me, that my daughter would know me somehow, but clearly I was wrong. Whatever relationship we could have had is gone now. You've made sure of that. Never reach out. I have nothing else to say. I hope you find happiness, and I hope the bitterness and hatred in you and your mom's hearts don't ruin it like it ruined mine. Goodbye, and God bless you. So that's that. And I don't know what to make of it. Obviously, it's very manipulative. Again, he's trying to paint himself to be the victim and needs to be the bad guy, but I don't buy it. I don't even understand why he bothered to send me all of this. It's not like I'm going to feel sorry about it all of a sudden and apologize and make everything right again for him. It's not happening. So I guess he's just venting about his feelings because he knows that nothing will fix what has happened already. Well, he needs to move on. Update 4. Hi everyone. So it's been a year since my last update. I'm posting now because my mom is getting married. After 10 years of devoting herself to raising me to the best of her abilities, putting me through college and still helping me financially and taking care of me, emotionally and otherwise, she's finally doing something for herself. I mean, she has gone out on a few dates in the past. She has had a few relationships, but they have all fizzled out. But this man stayed, and I'm proud to call him my stepdad. He's been a part of my mom's life for the past year and a half. She's never been happier. And because she's never been happier, even I have never been happier. Because knowing that she's happy is what makes me happy. I'm sorry, I know it's corny, but it's the truth. As for my dad, we haven't had any contact in the past year. But my mom has heard from her friends that he's back on dating apps again, so he's either cheating or getting divorced. But who cares? All that matters is that I'm happy and that my mom is happy. That's all that matters. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.